Broadway programs are meant to be fun evenings. They are meant to be informative and enjoyable. They are not church services. Evidently some people don't know that, but don't be afraid. We're not going to preach at you or to you or for you. We might pray for you. That's it. And the other thing is that we want to continue a program that started 200 years ago almost in New York at the Chautauqua Center. Chautauqua is a gorgeous spa in western New York. And two Methodist ministers got together and said, you know, we got a lot of visitors here in the summer. Why don't we start a Sunday evening service and bring in some lecturers and some singers? And Chautauqua still goes today. If you saw the list of singers, you'd think you were going to one of the outdoor jazz concerts or rock concerts, because it's full of a great variety of people. And we will do a great variety of programs. This is the end of this season, and we're planning for next season already. We have had the first service about the beauties of our city and how to keep it safe, and we had one of the police spokespersons here to discuss that for us. We had one about LGBT kids and the problems they're having, and we supported their organization, the Orlando Youth Alliance, and they were very grateful for what we did. And I promise you, the testimony given was one of the most moving you've ever heard. Even more moving was from the House of Hope by a young woman who has lived recent years at the House of Hope, and we raised some money for them, and we're proud of that, and we intend to raise more for other local charities. There's always somebody out there raising money for the Heart Association and American Cancer Society and running, which I don't do, and for all sorts of causes. But our charities are local. And as far as I'm concerned, even though the Grady Graham Prize is a national prize, it's here in Florida. And Mr. Graham is here, and Father Clear is here, so you'll hear more about that later. Just so you know, we never charge for one of the concerts here. We have no intention to begin it, and nobody is paid for it. Some people pay by sweating a lot when the air conditioning isn't on, but that's about as much as we can do on that. So without any introductions, we will now do the music program, and the last thing will be Father Clear speaking to us, and I appreciate his presence. You'll have a wonderful time hearing some terrific people, and we will close later with a famous hymn, Precious Lord, which you'll find in the hymnal in 474. That's in the program, and we'll start that and have a good time. So welcome, enjoy yourselves.
Jesus lit the candle by the waterside to see the little children that they truly baptized. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. King Jesus lit the candle by the waterside to see the little children as they truly baptized. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. Oh, run along, children, to be baptized. Mighty pretty meeting by the waterside. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. Oh, run along, children, to be baptized. Mighty pretty meeting by the waterside. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. I prayed all day, and I prayed all night. My head got sprinkled with the midnight dew. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. Oh, run along to London, be baptized, mud pretty meeting by the waterside. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. Oh, run along to London, be baptized, mud pretty meeting by the waterside. Honor, honor unto the dying Lamb. I've been in the storm so long. I've been in the storm so long, chillin'. I've been in the storm so long. Oh, give me little time to pray. I've been in the storm so long. I've been in the storm so long, chillin'. I've been in the storm so long. Oh, give me little time to pray. Now let me tell my mother how far I've come along. Oh, give me little time to pray. With a hunger down and an aching heart, oh, give me little time to pray. I've been in this storm so long. I've been in this storm so long, chillin'. I've been in the storm so long. Oh, give me little time to pray. Now when I get to heaven, I'll sing all about. Oh, give me little time to pray. There'll be nobody there to turn me out. Oh, give me little time to pray. I've been in the storm so long. I've been in the storm so long, chillin'. I've been in the storm so long. Oh,
Tomb. Good evening. Tonight I will be singing both songs, but in reverse order. Okay. Thank you. Seeking for city, hallelujah. I am seeking for city, hallelujah. For a city in the kingdom, hallelujah. For a city in the kingdom, there's a better day coming, hallelujah. There's a better day coming, hallelujah. When I leave this world of sorrow, hallelujah, for to join that holy number, hallelujah. Don't feel no ways tired. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Oh Lord, don't feel no ways tired, chilling, oh glory, hallelujah. For I hope to shout glory when this world is on fire. Oh, glory, hallelujah. Oh, Lord, don't feel no ways tired, chilling, oh, glory, hallelujah. For I hope to shout glory when this world is on fire. Oh, glory, hallelujah. I don't believe he brought me this far. I can't believe he brought me this far. I
won't believe he brought me this far to leave me. In the Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. In the Lord, my soul has been anchored in the Lord. Before I'd stay in hell one day, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. I'd sing and pray myself away. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. Oh Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Oh Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. I'd sing and pray and never stop. My soul's been anchored in the Lord until I reach that mountaintop. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. Oh Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Oh Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Been anchored in the Lord, in the Lord, in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. God knows my soul's been anchored in the Lord.
Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock, coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock, coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock, coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock, coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock, coming up, Lord. Lord, Elijah rock. Shout, shout, Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah, shout, shout, Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah, shout, shout, Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout, Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout, Elijah rock coming up, Elijah rock, shout, shout, Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout, Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Satan's a liar and a conqueror too. If you don't mind out, he'll conjure you. If I could, I surely would. Just stand on the rock where Moses stood. Rock with Elijah, roll, shout, shout. Elijah, 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 rock. We're gonna shout, shout, rock with Elijah, rock. Elijah rock coming up. Elijah rock coming up. Elijah rock coming up. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody how to travel on, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty like a Christian ought, if I can bring back beauty to this world abroad, if I can spread love's message that our Savior taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. Oh, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in
Thank you very much. That's a song I've been wanting to sing since high school, and I think it befits this evening's program very, very much. So thank you for letting me sing it. All right. had undone. Oh Lord, had undone. Oh Lord, had undone what you told me to do. Oh Lord, had undone. Oh Lord, he had undone. Oh Lord, had undone what you told me to do. You told me to work, I'd unworked, I'd undone what you told me to do. You told me to pray, I'd unprayed, I'd undone what you told me to do. Oh Lord, I'd undone. Oh Lord, I'd undone. Oh Lord, I'd undone what you told me to do. You told me to shout, I'd shout, I'd undone what you told me to do. You told me to sing, I'd done that too. I'd undone what you told me to do. Oh Lord, I'd undone. Oh Lord, I'd undone. Oh Lord, I'd undone. I'd undone what you told me to do.
Good evening. My name is Rudolph Clear. Many people know me as Father Rudy or Father Clear. I am an ordained Roman Catholic priest, although I am no longer in active ministry. I was, as I think your program notes, the first person of Afro-ethnic descent ordained by the Catholic Church in Florida to its priesthood. That was in 1983. I want to talk to you for a few minutes this evening as we close the program about the Negro spiritual tradition, but particularly on the theme of connections. The theme of connections. In the year 2007, the Congress of the United States passed a unanimous resolution with full consent of both houses that named the American Negro spiritual song as a national treasure. Congress said that this song tradition, created by enslaved persons brought to this shore, the shores of this nation, purely for purposes of essentially indentured labor, so that their bodies could be used to the enrichment of others in the building of a new nation. Congress said that the songs these people crafted, the songs they cobbled together out of the rhythms and tunes that were familiar to them from their homeland, and from the images and stories learned from the scriptures of their Christian masters, and from the circumstances in which they found themselves. This body of work was crafted from the different elements of the African experience and the American experience. Congress indicated that this was the first African-American artistic and cultural effort. It was the first bridging of the African experience and the American experience to produce something entirely new. A set of music that spoke in response to the horrific conditions in which these persons found themselves, and how they struggled to find reason to endure, to find reason to hope, and to find the courage and strength to live through the darkest period of American known history, the period we know as slavery. These songs, this connector between Africa and America, these songs have become America's anthem to liberty, to justice, to freedom, to hope, to aspiration, and they've become known worldwide. They are a truly American product. They speak to all of us, descendants of slaves and of slaveholders alike. They call us to remember, never to forget a shameful era of our past, but to remember the courage, the hope, the fortitude of the American people, the African American people, that brought them through that time and brought us to this day. So the spirituals not only bridged the continental divide between America and Africa, they bridged the historical divide between our nation's past and the present that we have inherited. We live now also in somewhat perilous times. After a century, a middle 20th century of the thought that we might have moved fully beyond some of the most horrible vestiges of slavery, our propensity to lash out against each other, our propensity to deny rights to each other, our propensity to work against the advancement of the dignity of human persons. After thinking that that era had been passed by through the work of the Civil Rights Movement, with the passage 50 years ago of a Civil Rights Act and of a Voting Rights Act, we now see in our country publicly expressions that suggest that some would like us to go back to those times. The spirituals speak to us now with great clarity that the God, the divine protecting God who saw the slaves through their time of enslavement, is now wishing to be on the side of those who face, again, discrimination, oppression, injustice, or wrong, of any race or color, of any creed or gender, of any social or political condition. These are America's songs. These are the songs of a nation that came through its worst of times and hopes again for the best of times. So I am extraordinarily pleased that Broadway United Methodist Church chose to focus on the Negro spiritual tradition of song for its presentation tonight. Richard, I want to thank you publicly and to salute your congregation for having the courage to recall for our local Orlando community the importance of this great heritage of American song, the Negro spiritual song tradition. I thank you. Now, more about connections. It's an interesting thing. I looked over the program and listened to the music here tonight, and there are so many ties to be made. Mr. Williams, you delivered Jacqueline Butler Hairston's I Don't Feel No Ways Tired for us tonight. With extraordinary, I would say, mastery. Thank you ever so much. That was just glorious. Jacqueline Butler Hairston was the second composer in residence called to the Negro Spirituals Grady Rayam Prize project. She wrote for us in 1998, her spiritual, You and I Can Tell the World. I happened to be with Jackie some years before that when she was putting the finishing touches on I Don't Feel No Ways Tired. And Robert Sims was with us at the time as well as she was finishing that work. I will call Jackie later tonight and tell her how wonderfully you brought her spiritual to life. Thank you. Mrs. Green. Yes. So when I was ordained in 1983, as I said, I was the first black priest ordained in the state of Florida, and I was assigned here to Orlando, which is my home diocese. I was the associate pastor of the cathedral down the street to our left, my left, and I lived in a house up on Concord Street to the right that was our rectory. Not long after I came, my bishop then, Bishop Grady, said to me, he said, Orlando has a high school choral program that is simply world class. And he said to me, that high school had established the tradition of singing Handel's Messiah as its holiday concert. And he said, I want to have them sing that out of our cathedral. And so I was the associate pastor of the cathedral who made that happen. I came then to know a woman named Edna Sampson Hargret, later Thrower. Mrs. Hargret became my godmother in music and in education. She invited me into the choir room, and I would sit for many days in the chairs off the side of the piano and listen to the extraordinary work she did in shaping the minds of young people, shaping them. You know, she has the think superior, be superior, think superior, act superior, be superior, sing superior plus. And she always told me that those were the those were flag posts she put in the ground to remind her students to always be rigorous intellectual scholars, to be great public servants and citizens, to be of good moral character, and to be music professionals. She used to say, I know lots of kids who can sing. I don't need singers, I need musicians. Thank you ever so much for having kept and advanced that enormously glorious tradition of young professional musicianship. Jones High School Concert Choir, Mrs. Green, I want to thank you because your performance tonight reminded me of how my life with music here in Orlando started with Mrs. Hargret those many years ago. Thank you ever so much. So when I say Mama Sugar Lump, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You sang tonight Roland Carter's arrangement of the spiritual In Bright Mansions. That particular arrangement is what I would probably call, it's one of the Cadillac arrangements of choral Negro spirituals of the 20th century. It's an extraordinarily difficult piece to sing. It bears great, great, great beauty. It's been in Jones High School's repertoire for as long as I've known the choir, and I thank you for that. Roland Carter inaugurated the Grady Rayam Prize series. We commissioned him in the very first year, Curtis, in 1997. He delivered for us Steal Away to Jesus, which still is just one of the most difficult of the solo voice spirituals to sing. I shall call Roland Carter when I get out of here and tell him how wonderfully you delivered his piece tonight. I want to thank all of you young people for just being such incredible young musicians. Thank you. Yay. So you heard from Curtis Rayam. Curtis Rayam is the Rayam of the Project Grady Rayam. Some years ago, I sang with the concert chorale at Bethune-Cookman University years and years ago, and I sang under the baton of Dr. Robert Williams. After I had been ordained for a number of years, Bishop Grady and I were talking about how could we help the Central Florida community to continue to advance the spirituality of the African American people beyond his retiring from being bishop here. And so I spent a couple of years researching it, and we came up with the notion of this thing called the Negro Spiritual Scholarship Foundation. And it is just what its name says. It's dedicated to the preservation of the Negro spiritual song tradition, and we use that to advance educational opportunities through scholarship for young aspiring artists. Anisha Olabreeze, whom you heard tonight, was a finalist in this year's, which is our 20th year of singing of the Grady Rayam Prize in vocal performance that focuses on the Negro spirituals. Students who enter that competition are required to learn a new spiritual, newly composed for that year that no one else has ever heard. They have to present that before their judges, and another spiritual drawn from their own repertoire. It is an extraordinarily challenging exercise for young people, and we are so very, very pleased that 20 years in it's still going. But Bishop Grady said to me, I need you to figure out if there's a way that we can advance America's understanding of the African American people's spirituality. And so Dr. Williams and I hit upon using the Negro spiritual songs to do so. At the time, and this is a little bit of a history lesson, a man named Robert Swedberg led Orlando Opera Company. Robert Swedberg said to Bishop Grady and I, there is a young man, a tenor who came out of Jones High School here locally, and he said, we've had him on the roster with Orlando Opera several times. He said, he's actually the darling of opera houses in Europe. And he said, we're trying to reel him in to bring him back home, but it would be wonderful if Curtis could know about this project. And so he put me and Bishop Grady in touch with Curtis Rayam. Curtis Rayam met with us, and out of that meeting came the project Grady Rayam, and the prize for solo voice singing of spirituals. That was 23 years ago, and the foundation started its life 20 years ago. Curtis has been he's the living namesake patron. He's been the heart and cornerstone of this effort all throughout. Curtis is, as I mentioned, a Jones High School alumnus. So I'm talking connections now. Curtis is a Jones High School alumnus. Now, 2 years ago, our foundation inaugurated an additional prize program for students in solo performance of spirituals, solo piano performance. It's called the Carl Maltsby Prize in Piano Performance. This year, we gave, for the second time, we gave an award in piano performance. Dr. Carl Maltsby, who lives in Orlando now, is a composer, arranger of great note, and he is also a Jones High School alumnus. Both of them came out of the choir room at Jones High School under Mrs. Hargrett's tutelage. So I told you I'd talk to you about connections. It is important for us as a community to see how historically and currently we are connected to each other. And one of the tremendous ways that we celebrate that is through music. And tonight we've been celebrating together an extraordinary tradition of music that I hope will live in our community for just decades and decades to come. Curtis, I want to thank you and salute you publicly for the enormous role you've played in making our program live, and in the great witness you've been for so many young artists of what professionalism, talent, preparation, and a sheer love of the joy of singing can produce. Please let us recognize Curtis Rayam. Two things in closing. One is to say that I feel it is unfortunate, whatever the circumstance, that a middle school choral program finds, the young people of that program find themselves caught, apparently, in our current confusion, I think, about how we can celebrate being one human family together. It borders on the tragic for me that young people would not be allowed to come and share in a program where they could be enriched by the sharing with their peers, where they can be celebrated by others in the community who want to uplift and applaud them. It seems tragic to me that such a thing should happen in the year 2016. So my heart goes out to them, and I hope that we would think kind thoughts of them, and I hope that their programs, administration, and the leadership of their school community might want to think again about the impact of withholding music, culture, and community from young people. I just want to say that out loud, and I'll be accountable for those words if they ever come back to me. I lastly want to say to you that our foundation believes that this particular musical tradition, because it is so rich and because it has so much to offer us, is possibly what I call a way forward for America. If we could just hearken to these words and these melodies that call to us from our past, and if we could think with the mind of the slave who had to come through that time, and if we could connect to the heart, to the sorrows, the anguish, the fears, the hope, the joy of the people who knew that there could be better times, if we could recommit ourselves to celebrating what is good about America that binds us to one another rather than what tears us apart, our foundation feels that keeping this music alive can help America to see a way forward through the current times of division and can point the direction that we could all go. I want to thank all of you for being a continuing part of sending that message out. One of my board members, Richard Thomas, is with me this evening. Mr. Thomas. Speaking of connections, Mr. Thomas came out of that very same choir. I first knew him as a baritone, kinda. He thought he was a bass, but he wasn't down there in the. He was. I first knew him as a young baritone with Jones High School's concert choir, and he now sits on the board of our foundation. And Richard will have some information about the foundation that he can make available to you. If you would care to be generous in your offering and your contributions this evening in support of the foundation, we will thank you for that. If you are not able to give tonight, we also have some envelopes that we can have available that you can take away with you. They're self-addressed and stamped, and Richard can give those to the ushers. We'll have some envelopes that you can take away and send back to us. Earlier today, I had occasion to speak with a woman named Viola Coleman. Viola Coleman is the sister to a lady who preceded Mrs. Green in the role of directress of Jones High School's choral program, Darlene Coleman. Darlene was my sister in faith and an amazing musical peer and a great supporter of what we do here. As I listened to the singing of the In Bright Mansions tonight, I thought of Darlene, And I thought again of how connected we are to those who went before us, who make it possible for us to be great today. I just lastly, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Negro Spiritual Scholarship Foundation, of its living namesake patron, of every one of our patrons and benefactors, but most particularly on behalf of those students and educators and parents who've been touched. There are more than 50,000 of them who've been touched over the 20 years of this work. I want to thank you on their behalf for honoring the great, great, great American tradition of the Negro spiritual song. Good night, and I thank you.
We're going to close singing together a wonderful song, Dr. King's favorite song, 474 in your hymnals, and we've got a great opportunity to go become real singers to sing with tonight. So let's turn in our hymnals 474 and join together in Precious Lord. And I think we even have a piano to help us hype up the tune. Let's stand.